Have you ever felt like you're your own biggest obstacle? Not because of bad luck or a lack of skill, but because of the daily choices you make, the words you say, the habits you hold on to, how you react to the world. You're not a failure. You might just be trapped in a cycle, comfortable in your own ignorance. We all know someone who talks just to be heard, argues to win, and avoids responsibility. But you don't have to be that person. Stoicism teaches that real strength isn't about volume or force. It's about self-control, silence, and mastering your own mind. It's about owning your choices, not letting your impulses control you. Today we'll identify the signs of a foolish mindset, the patterns that, unchecked, can keep you from your potential. More importantly, we'll show you how to avoid these traps and live with purpose, clarity, and true strength. If you're looking to grow, refine your thinking, and lead a more intentional life, consider subscribing. This is your first step toward building the discipline and wisdom that changes everything. So, what's the first sign that someone is holding themselves back? They speak more than they think. We've all met that person who can't stand silence, who fills every pause as if quiet were a threat. They talk not to contribute, but from discomfort. They believe constant talking makes them seem smarter or more valuable. But the opposite is true. The more they talk, the more they reveal their ignorance. The more they talk, the less they listen and the more they miss. Words are powerful, but used carelessly they work against you. Talking too much signals insecurity, a desperate need for control and validation. The wise know when to speak and when to be silent. They understand that silence can be more powerful than any argument. It's not about avoiding conversation. It's knowing that sometimes saying nothing says everything. When we speak less, we create space to truly listen, process, and reflect. We stop reacting and start responding. In those pauses, we find clarity, something the overtalker misses, too busy filling the air with noise. Think about heated discussions where someone just won't stop talking, rushing to defend their position. They're not engaging, they're defending their ego. When you stay calm and composed, you gain the chance to observe, understand, and choose your response. That's where wisdom lives, in the spaces between words. Next time you feel the urge to speak just to break the silence, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to prove? In silence, you'll find more strength than in a stream of words. Over time, your words will carry more weight because people will know you speak with purpose, not just to be heard. But what happens when someone confronts them with an uncomfortable reality? They get offended by the truth. Truth doesn't injure your body, it wounds your ego. It can shake your self-image. A foolish person can't handle it. They fight it, twist it, or dismiss it. Offer honest feedback and they lash out. Their pride flares and they get defensive, focusing on your tone or motives, anything to avoid the real issue. Their identity seems built on being right, so a challenge feels like an attack. The tragedy is that accepting truth is a sign of strength. It's about embracing reality, however uncomfortable. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone corrects you and shows you your mistake, consider it a gift." That mindset transforms you. Being corrected builds you up. It doesn't break you down. It's easy to fight back, to defend your position at all costs. That's the fool's path. They live in denial, where only their perspective is valid. But growth requires admitting what you don't know. Admitting you're wrong isn't weakness, it's the doorway to wisdom. Those who welcome criticism are the ones who grow. It's about being willing to change. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Life will constantly offer uncomfortable truths. Respond with defensiveness and you stay trapped. Respond with humility and you begin to grow. Start with humility, the humility to admit you don't have all the answers. Accept that being wrong makes you human. Every time you admit a mistake and learn, you gain resilience. In a world that often rewards the illusion of perfection, real strength comes from facing your flaws and still moving forward. And when things go wrong, where do they place the blame? They blame everyone but themselves. There's always an excuse. Their favorite phrase is, "It's not my fault." They point fingers at parents, bosses, circumstances, the universe. They play the victim. Blaming others is easy, it takes the heat off you. But when you always blame, you never take control. You never own your actions and you never grow. The Stoics emphasize that it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Life won't be perfect. People will disappoint you. But you always control your response. The moment you blame others, you give away your power. You hand your life's reins to someone else. Accepting responsibility is hard, especially when plans fail. But when you do, you gain freedom. You're no longer a victim. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." That's personal freedom. When you stop blaming the world, you stop being at its mercy. You take your power back. Owning your mistakes doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger. It's the starting point for change. You stop waiting for someone else to fix things and start fixing them yourself. This requires self-awareness and humility. The more you practice responsibility, the more empowered you feel. You realize you are the key to your own success. So, next time you want to blame someone, pause. Ask, what can I learn from this? What can I control? Embracing responsibility is embracing freedom. You stop being a victim and start building your life. How do they approach conversations and new ideas? They refuse to listen or learn. A foolish person doesn't listen, they speak only to win. Every conversation is a battle where being right matters more than understanding. They don't engage to exchange ideas, they engage to defend their ego. They'll interrupt, argue, and double down on mistakes rather than absorb what others say. They treat disagreement as war, not a chance to discover. The tragedy is they don't see how much they're holding themselves back. Each time they refuse to listen, they miss a chance to grow. Their thoughts become stagnant. Their growth stalls because they protect their certainty instead of challenging it. Think about the last time you truly listened, not just waiting for your turn to speak. That's when real learning begins. Our egos want us to defend ourselves, to prove we know better. But we can't grow that way. When we choose to listen, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We evolve. The great irony is that those determined to be right learn the least. They're trapped in a narrow perspective. Those willing to listen grow. They expand their understanding. So, next time you feel the urge to be right in a conversation, stop. Ask, what can I learn here? What if I'm wrong? Really listen. It takes humility to admit you don't know everything. That's how you become wiser. True intelligence isn't about having all the answers, it's about knowing you don't. In today's world, what do they chase above all else? They chase attention, not improvement. We live in a world obsessed with likes, followers, and validation. It's a race for approval where being louder means being seen. But living for applause is shallow. Chasing instant gratification, performing your life for others, it doesn't make you stronger. It makes you a prisoner to external validation. You focus so much on what others think that you forget to focus on yourself. The Stoic doesn't seek that attention. They live for improvement and growth. They don't need the world's applause to feel progress. Marcus Aurelius said, "The approval of others gains you nothing." True strength comes from within, from doing what's right even when no one watches. The real reward is knowing you're becoming your best self, regardless of recognition. It's not about rejecting connection. It's understanding that validation is fleeting. Internal growth is what matters. Their motivation comes from the work itself. So, next time you're about to post for attention, ask, is this contributing to my growth or just feeding my ego? Are you seeking applause or focusing on improvement even if no one notices? Every time you choose to improve without an audience, you build unshakable strength. Stop chasing attention. Start chasing improvement. The applause fades, your internal progress lasts. How do they interpret their repeated errors? They repeat mistakes and call it experience. You've heard it, "I've been through this before," as if repeating a mistake makes you wiser. It's stubbornness disguised as experience. They stumble over the same obstacle but refuse to see they're in a cycle. Real wisdom comes from learning from mistakes, not repeating them. Experience without reflection is just a string of failures. Seneca said, "To err is human, but to persist in error is foolish." We all fail. The difference is the fool repeats the mistake. The wise person learns and moves on. Mistakes are lessons. The danger is believing that just going through the motions is enough. If you don't reflect on why something went wrong, you're not learning, you're wasting time. Stop the cycle. Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of justifying or blaming, reflect. What could you have done differently? View mistakes as opportunities for growth, not failures to avoid. This requires humility, letting go of your ego, admitting you were wrong. You don't grow by pretending to be perfect or repeating errors hoping for a different outcome. You grow by examining what happened and using that knowledge to move forward stronger. True wisdom is about acknowledging mistakes, owning them, and using them as fuel. So, next time you're in a cycle of mistakes, stop. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? What can I do differently? The answers will help you break free. It's not about how many times you've failed, it's about how many times you've learned. What do they misunderstand about appearing capable? They confuse confidence with competence. Confidence is admired, but there's a difference between true confidence and arrogance. A foolish person confuses the two. They think being loud, certain, or forceful makes them right. They mistake certainty for skill. But confidence without competence is just arrogance, a hollow mask. True confidence doesn't need to be announced. The Stoics knew real strength isn't about boasting. It's about the quiet power of results. True confidence comes from competence, earned through hard work away from the spotlight. The more competent you are, the less you need to prove anything. We often see people projecting confidence that doesn't match their ability. They sound sure but can't deliver results. That's a facade. True confidence is quiet and powerful, visible in your steady effort, honed skills, and ability to walk the talk. Competence doesn't need validation. It shows in the results. Your actions speak for themselves. So, when you feel the need to prove your worth, ask, have I earned this confidence, or do I just want others to believe I have? Are you speaking to prove yourself or to contribute value? True confidence isn't about showing off. It's about letting your actions talk. The foolish person constantly needs to prove themselves. The wise person lets their work do the talking. Focus on becoming competent and let confidence follow naturally. What do they believe about being loud in a disagreement? They think loud opinions mean strength. A foolish person believes that raising their voice, dominating a conversation, asserts control and power. They mistake volume for authority. But true strength doesn't shout. It stays calm, composed, and unshaken. The Stoics taught that self-control is the highest form of power. When you react quickly from emotion, you lose control. When you stay calm, you hold the true power. Consider heated discussions where people shout to make their point, trying to overwhelm others. That's not strength. It's insecurity masquerading as confidence. The louder they are, the less they listen and the worse they communicate. The truly strong person doesn't need to shout. They speak with intention, clarity, and purpose. Their words are measured and impactful. They don't waste energy dominating the room. Think of a time you were upset and wanted to react immediately. Did your loud reaction help, or did it escalate things? Now imagine if you had remained calm. By pausing, you regain control and can respond from purpose, not emotion. That's true strength, choosing your response. Next time you want to raise your voice, pause. Breathe. Ask, is this bringing me closer to my goal or just feeding my ego? True strength isn't about winning a conversation. It's about staying composed under pressure. Master this and you won't need to shout to be heard. In a world that mistakes loudness for strength, remember, the strongest people often speak the least but have the most impact. They've mastered silence, stillness, and control over their emotions. Their words, when they speak, are thoughtful and powerful. How do they approach the act of speaking itself? They don't think before they speak. Words can build or destroy, inspire or hurt. Yet a foolish person speaks without thinking, letting words spill out impulsively. But once spoken, words can't be taken back. You can apologize, but the damage is done. Speaking without thought risks saying things you don't mean, causing harm, or losing control of a conversation. The Stoics valued silence as an active choice, a space where wisdom gathers. It's the pause between thought and action. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your words reflect what's inside. Speaking without thought reveals a lack of control and carelessness. We've all said things in the heat of the moment and regretted it. A snarky comment, a hasty judgment. The problem isn't just what we say, but how and when we say it. If we slow down and pause before responding, we can speak with intention. Silence isn't the absence of words. It's the presence of reflection. It's asking, what do I want to say? What do I want to achieve? How do I want the other person to feel? When we think before we speak, we align our words with our intentions. We become more thoughtful and effective. In a chaotic world, the ability to remain calm and speak only when it serves the conversation is a mark of wisdom. The more you speak without thinking, the more you erode your credibility. But when you speak thoughtfully, you build a reputation for being wise and trustworthy. So, next time you're about to speak, pause. Ask, is this worth saying? Is this the right time? What do I hope to achieve? In that silence, you'll find clarity. Silence is not weakness. It's the foundation of strength. Use it to your advantage. And when it comes to their own choices, what do they avoid? They don't own their decisions. A foolish person dodges responsibility, making excuses and blaming others when things go wrong. They pretend they had no control. It's an easy escape but a trap. By refusing responsibility, they give away their power and stay stuck. True power comes from owning your decisions, good or bad. Accepting responsibility is the key to growth. The Stoics taught that our power lies in how we choose to respond to life's events. Things won't always go your way. Setbacks will happen. But your response defines you. It's easy to make excuses, to blame someone else. But in doing so, you surrender your ability to change. The more you justify mistakes, the more you repeat them. When you own your decisions, you open the door to growth. You learn from mistakes and make necessary changes. Owning your decisions is the foundation of self-improvement. It's not about being perfect, it's about acknowledging errors and using them as lessons. When you own your choices, you take responsibility for your life. No one else is in control. The world may throw obstacles, but your response is yours to decide. So start owning your choices. Stop looking for blame. Even when plans fail, don't retreat into excuses. Ask, what can I do differently? How can I improve? Every time you take ownership, you strengthen your ability to act and create the life you want. The Stoics taught that strength lies in our ability to respond. Face responsibility head-on, and you unlock real power and control. Life is about learning from mistakes. The more you own your decisions, the more you empower yourself to grow. Finally, how do they respond to the inevitability of change? They resist change. How often have you heard or thought, "That's just who I am"? It sounds harmless, but it's often a defense mechanism to justify stubbornness and resist growth. A foolish person clings to this idea, refusing to adapt. They wear their stubbornness like a badge of authenticity. But refusing to change isn't authenticity, it's limitation. Real strength lies in growth, in the willingness to challenge yourself and evolve. The Stoics taught that we are constantly being shaped, by discipline or by decay. Every day is a chance to improve, shed old habits, and become better. If you're not changing, you're stagnating. Our goal is to align with nature, to grow, and to face challenges with resilience. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Obstacles aren't things to avoid, they're opportunities for growth. The path to becoming better lies in embracing change, not resisting it. Real growth requires leaving your comfort zone. It means letting go of outdated beliefs and confronting ignored parts of yourself. Change is hard. It forces you to face insecurities and weaknesses. But it's the only way forward. Without change, you repeat patterns and never reach your potential. The Stoics understood we are always shaping ourselves. Every moment is a choice. Discipline or decay, growth or stagnation. Change isn't something that just happens. It's a choice. Challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone. Embrace the discomfort of evolving. The most powerful people seek change, constantly striving to be better. So next time you think, "That's just who I am," pause. Ask, is this the best version of me? Is this who I want to be? Growth doesn't happen by staying the same. It happens when you face your limitations and adapt. Don't be afraid to change. Break free from old habits. Embrace becoming the person you know you can be. True strength comes from evolving and striving to improve every day. Change is not your enemy, it's your ally in the pursuit of greatness. And what is their relationship with the opinions of others? They don't learn from feedback. A foolish person can't handle constructive criticism. They get defensive, dismiss it, or refuse to acknowledge it. It's as if being corrected challenges their entire identity. But feedback is a gift. It's an opportunity to improve, see yourself differently, and grow. Without it, you're blind to your flaws. Without self-awareness, growth is impossible. Rejecting feedback limits your potential. The Stoics were masters of self-reflection. They welcomed criticism as a tool for growth. For them, feedback wasn't a source of shame, it was a source of strength. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The Stoics saw every piece of feedback as a challenge to improve. It wasn't about defending pride, it was about becoming better. When you refuse feedback, you reject evolution. Imagine responding to criticism with gratitude instead of defensiveness. What if you saw it as a mirror showing where you could grow? Feedback lets you see beyond your limitations to course correct before repeating mistakes. It sharpens your skills and transforms you. Think of the last time someone gave you feedback. Did you become defensive or did you absorb it? Discomfort is part of growth. Pushing through it makes you stronger and more self-aware. If you accept that you're not perfect and there's always room to grow, feedback becomes a powerful tool. The wise person sees correction as an opportunity, a way to turn an external perspective into personal growth. It's not an attack, it's an invitation to grow. Every time you reject feedback, you reject your potential. Every time you embrace it, you move closer to your best self. In a world full of opinions, the skill is discerning what's helpful and using it to your advantage. It's easy to be defensive, but that keeps you stuck. The Stoics taught that true wisdom is in our ability to adapt and learn from every situation. So, next time you get feedback, don't push it away. Embrace it. It might sting, but it's the only way to grow. Every person offering feedback gives you a chance to become better. Let go of defensiveness, and you strengthen your ability to adapt and succeed. Growth doesn't come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from embracing it, learning, and evolving. The more you welcome feedback, the more you build the strength to improve. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this resonated with you, explore one of the suggested videos on your screen to continue your path of self-growth. Stay strong, stay mindful, and keep moving forward.